Hello, this is Chef Marcus Giuliano, and I am a chef on a mission. You can find all about me at chefonamission.com. My new website is Truth in Menu, and Truth in Menu is a website that I'm building to sort of bring the awareness to consumers and chefs and restaurateurs that we need to be honest. To us chefs and restaurateurs need to be honest in our menu with what we're advertising or what we're selling, and consumers really need to be aware, and they really can't trust that many restaurants at all. It's shocking to see that when I go out to eat, I'm a professional, so I know. So I'm educated on this, but to the average person, they have no idea if they're eating grass-fed beef, wild salmon, grain-fed, hormone-free, antibiotic. They have no clue, because the chef, restaurateur, typically doesn't have a clue. And he relies upon the salesperson. It doesn't matter if it's a small mom-and-pop's restaurant that doesn't have their act together, or that's just disorganized, or to these big celebrity chefs. Talking about how Tom Colicchio has misled customers for months at Foxwoods on grass-fed beef when it was really grain-fed. And I called that to her attention. They didn't listen to me, and I tried to be nice to begin with. And I explained, and I called, spoke to the manager, spoke to the butcher, and with no avail, they argued with me and told me. I called the farms, and they said, that's not right, he shouldn't be doing that. Well, so it's the big guys and the no-name guys that do this. I was at a wedding last year in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is Stephen Starr territory. That's where he has a lot of his restaurants. That's where he's from. And Stephen Starr has, Nobu, Budokan, some really big, very reputable properties. And we went to one of his restaurants there called Parc, P-A-R-C. And it was after the wedding. It was our last day there. We were leaving, come back to New York. And it was lunchtime, beautiful outside in October, and we sat outside, and it was just really, really nice. Beautiful restaurant, French-style bistro. And the waitress came over and explained the specials to us, and and she said, we have, one of our specials today is wild Scottish salmon. And I said, well, I looked at her and I said, well, are you sure it's wild Scottish? She goes, oh, it's wild Scottish. And I said, well, okay, there's no such thing as wild Scottish salmon. That's all it falls under the umbrella of Atlantic salmon. It is illegal to catch this and serve this in a restaurant. Highly illegal. It's, basically an endangered species. And I explained this to her, and I said, the only reason I know this is because I'm a seafood advocate, and I've been doing this for over 10 years. I've been dedicated to educating and preserving and promoting sustainable seafood. So I said, just go back and ask the chef exactly what it is. Is it organic Scottish salmon, which is a whole other thing to begin with? She goes back, she goes, no, the chef said it's wild Scottish salmon. And at that point I said, okay, I'm not going to make a big deal, but I said, do yourself a favor. Go home, go to these couple of websites I'm going to give you, look up the facts on it, so then you can be prepared, because I'm telling you that that's not true, and I don't want to make a big deal here, and no need to go back to the chef, but go home and really educate yourself on really what salmon is. Now here's the story with salmon. You have Atlantic salmon, which is indigenous to the Atlantic Ocean. Atlantic salmon is very, very, very severely overfished. So when you get Atlantic salmon in the grocery store or in a restaurant, it's always farm-raised Atlantic salmon. So they can farm-raise this in Chile, Scotland, Norway, in Maine, Nova Scotia. They can farm this all over. It's just the species of salmon, the Atlantic salmon. The West Coast has 5 or 6 species. They get much more involved over there. King, King or Chinook, sockeye, chum, coho, silver bright. There's a bunch of different stuff out there, pink. But when you're talking about Atlantic salmon, it's all farm-raised. There's no such thing as wild. So that right there throws the whole equation out. And I've been to a lot of restaurants that have done this, and I'm going to blog on another big-time chef that made it in Hollywood, who they came out, the partner came out to apologize to me that I caught their typo, that their menu is mislabeled tonight. This stuff is unacceptable. Whatever type of restaurant you're in, whether you're a no-name chef or a big-time chef, you've got to be responsible for a menu. And this place was very persistent at Stephen Starr at Parc there. The chef was very persistent that he had wild Scottish salmon. And I don't know who told him that. I don't know if it was his vendor or if he just figured he had to add those terms to it because it's from Scotland or Norway. People picture this Norway salmon as, ooh, this beautiful, pristine. You know what? Atlantic salmon is farmed. Now, granted, there are some farms doing a better job nowadays. Farmed salmon will never ever compare to wild Pacific salmon or wild salmon in general, because salmon knows it was on this 2,000-mile journey. It spawns, you know, it hatches, it spawns, it swims downstream, goes into the ocean, does this whole big journey, and comes back to the exact spot that it spawns, and it eats wild food out there like chlorella, which chlorella is extremely high in anisacethin, which is a antioxidant, which is extremely powerful for our immune system, for our aging, for humans, and for the fish. So there's certain things that the wild fish do, the muscular buildup, their natural instinct to reproduce, because farmed salmon don't reproduce. They don't have that natural instinct to reproduce. Wild salmon, by the means of reproduction, they have to build up all their fat, and then their fat is where they store all these good nutrients, heart-healthy fats. So when they go to swim back upstream is when they're in their peak fitness as far as fat and going to their journey. Farmed salmon will never, ever, ever do this. So that's why you want to really primarily eat wild Alaskan salmon. There are a couple farms that do a phenomenal job as far as salmon, so I don't want to knock the whole industry. But as far as truth in menu, Stephen Starr at Parc, a bit disappointed that day at you. Really, really a bit disappointed. And just can't do that. I'm Marcus Giuliano. I am a chef on a mission, chefonamission.com, and truthinmenu.com, where you'll find all types of videos like this, where I go in and I call out restaurants and I educate. And you know, really, these chefs need to be held accountable. They need to be held accountable. And you know what? If somebody wants to contact me from Stephen Starr, contact me. You know, we actually had a dinner at one of his other restaurants just this last in Atlantic City. My wife was planning a party there, and you know, it was a little sketchy in the beginning because my wife explained to the catering manager, person doing this, you know, we eat this way, and this is, we want to make sure this fish is as fish is as fish is as fish. And it took a couple times back and forth, but we really got answers that I was really satisfied with the bottom line. They were serving Chilean sea bass, and you know, and Chilean sea bass is not bass, and they came clean and said what it was, you know. So we were impressed with that. But we know the questions to ask. So you know, I'm Marcus Giuliano. I'm a chef on a mission. Thanks for watching.